I'm going to open the continuing meeting from the last board of supervisors meeting. That's a budget workshop. We've got some updated numbers from what we talked about at the board meeting. We'll get in there in just 1 second. Gentlemen, we did a special event permit for the walk for life. The other night, we voted on it. I had the road closure resolution.
I think we did not vote on it.
We waited.
We held the permit
for the
until this.
Okay, well, I've got the road closure resolution. You all want to see it, read it? It's pretty standard like it is every year. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion with pass.
Pass this special event permit for Walk of Life with the road closure resolution. All right, gentlemen, there's a motion on the floor to approve the special event permit with the road closure. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the main topic for today. Our budget. Before Brady gets started, we talked a little bit at the board meeting about it. We had some fee changes, some dog kennel changes. I think Brady's has some numbers on those at this time. And we can see where that is. And then we'll start some more discussion on that. Mr. Dewar.
Yes, sir. Chairman, members of the board, a couple things. The Commissioner of Revenue has been very helpful, provided some information on BPOL and land use. She also sent a couple comments on the vehicle license and the meals tax. I just provided those documents to you via email. Those documents show several suggestions in terms of, from her office, how we could handle navigating the land use application fee increases and potential business license fee increases. She also commented on the vehicle license tax and provided a breakdown that shows the current Amelia fee and the yearly registration, and according to her, that those are the fees you cannot go above and beyond. So she then also provided a little blurb regarding the meals tax and the enforcement of the meals tax. In the BPOL breakdown, she provided all the revenue for each category and the gross receipts for that for those categories, and where our current rate is at, and then what the allowable rate is according to state code. Okay. Now I need to get, I got two gentlemen over here without devices, so I'm going to need to print them off some sheets. So if you don't mind, yeah, I'll email them to you. If you can print them off for me, print us off some copies.
Looks like only 3 out of 5 that can even be increased.
So there's, and what I provided in her breakdown was not only was the where we're at today with the current allowable, where we were at. She provided where we were at in 2016 when they were last changed. Well, it's actually 2017, sorry. And that budget cycle when they were last changed. But I'm going to get Mary Beth to print off the other ones. And
Anybody got any questions? I know a couple of hadn't seen it, but any thoughts on anything we talked about in the last meeting?
I could just go retail sale. We're at 10 cents per, 10 cents for the gross receipts total. Allowable is 20 cents. Wholesale, we're at 2.5. The allowable is 5. Repair personal, we're at 18 cents. Allowable is 36. Financial real estate, we're at 25 cents. Allowable is 58. Contractors, we're at 8 cents. Allowable 16. And then the speedways is so minimal. We only get about 120 speedways, carnivals, events. Right now, we're only getting about $120 of revenue out of that, but we're at 9 cents. That total revenue of all those categories, according to the commissioner's office, is about $411,000. So that's the window though where we could go if we wanted to increase from the 10 cents to the 20. And figuring in those projections, you have to take into account that if you do 30,000 or less, you're only going to be charged the minimum fee for most of these. Each one is different, and that B-pole breakdown I provided in the presentation last time where it shows where our current B-pole license fees are. That will help you with that. So retail is $30 minimum, covers the gross of $30,000. Or you can pay the 10 cents per $100 of value in gross receipts. Wholesale is $30 minimum, covers the gross of $120,000 or the 2.5 cents. Repairs, personal, business, and other services is $30 minimum, covers the gross of $16,667. Or you can pay 18 cents per $100 of value. Financial real estate is the $30 minimum, covers a gross of $12,000 in receipts for the quarter per $100 of value. Contractors, $30 minimum, covers gross of $37.5 or 8 cents per $100 of value. And then your speedways, carnivals, events, masseuse, photographer category is $30 minimum, covers a gross of $33,334 or the 9 cents per $100 of value above that. So as we talked on Wednesday, that one's a little more complex in terms of changing it. I did provide a breakdown of other counties that surround us and where we are in those categories. And according to that breakdown, we're sort of in the middle. We're lower than Dinwiddie. We're higher than Nottaway. And then with Cumberland, we're sort of in between. Powhatan doesn't charge based on gross receipts. They do the annual fee of $50. And then Prince Edward does not charge for business licenses at all. So while Mary Beth's printing those other documents out, is there any
The revenue
question?
number, yeah, sorry, just trying to orient all these documents. Is the revenue number provided on that, the 2024 number, is that current revenue we receive, or that's additional revenue if you went up to the max?
That's current revenue we receive. We're about 411,000 current at the current rate.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then,
So how-
Go ahead.
what's in parentheses, is that what you're asking?
Well, in parentheses,
Is that what it, to the max, that's what the revenue would be?
that's the max that the state code allows you to go to my knowledge. So the commissioner had shared, when she shared this, had stated that the state code has a maximum limit for each of these categories and what you can charge per $100 of value of their gross receipts.
Okay.
And then on the far right side of the document is the number of licenses per category that we have in the county.
Would you say the max was on the financial, real estate, and professional services?
The max that the state allows currently is 58 cents. That's up from 50 cents that they allowed in 2017. We're at 25 cents per $100 of value.
Dinwiddie's
To
45.
answer your question, it's the gross that's under it. So,
Yeah,
so if you give
I
a
would,
new rate, then that way we can calculate what the total would be,
Now we have to be careful just with that.
because it's the gross recently.
It's
So-
gross, yep, and doesn't include projections. And then also, I'm not sure if she factored in those that are under the 30,000. So if any businesses that are under 30,000 is grossing that, they would just be charged at the $30 fee. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks like it's about the same though. If I just
Okay.
took the gross for a couple of them and just multiply. Well, you got to divide by 100 because it's per 100, and then multiply by the rate. It's pretty close. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
is that the rate multiplied time on machine and tools? What rate are you multiplying it by? I mean,
Well, like, okay, if you take
if
retail, for example, So the gross is 119,557. So you have to take that divided by 100 because it's 10 cent per 100. So take 119 million,
Okay,
divide by
okay.
100, then times 10 cent. That's, if you round, it's the revenue of 120,233.
So this is not tied to personal property or machinery and tools. This is.
No, it's not
I
really.
got
This
you.
is just business.
Gotcha.
This is
Gotcha.
just business license.
Ms. Robinson, you got yours pulled up on the computer? Yep, you good. Sorry.
All right.
There is a desk, there is just a comma off on row 4. It looks like it's 651,000, but it's 65,188. But numbers are right, but
Okay, yep.
I think just because she was typing really fast, just don't let that make you think,
Yeah.
look really quick and think it's a huge number. It's only 65,000.
Big shout out to all the departments that worked with us the last 2 days since the last meeting to get all these projections. They were all very helpful and responsive.
All right. I see you got some fee increases there too.
Yep. So that's the B poll information, and I know it's a lot of information, and as you all discussed last time, it's a little complex. She also provided some land use information. Do you want to go there, or do you want to go to the other departments?
Yeah, it's all in one
Yeah, okay.
attachment. That's fine.
Yeah, so the land use that she provided, she discussed increasing the application fee. Right now it's $10 for the 6-year period. And she, according to her, it cost the county about $281,000 or almost $282,000 in tax revenue. The applications are not all in the same year, of course, so they come in, and she said that there's about an average of 112 reapplications or applications a year. With that being said, right now you could factor in 112 times 10, which would give you 1120, so 1,120 as your annual revenue from your land use application. So if you went up to $25 for the application, you are at 2,800, which is about $1,700 more than what you're bringing in. If you went up to 50, about 5,600 total. If you went up to 75, it'd be $8,400 total. That's less the 1,120 that we would get. So take that 8,400, subtract 1,120 that we already get. That'd be the difference that you're getting if you increase the fee to that flat application. She did say that the applications take a fair amount of time to verify, that they have to do several things to check them. She also suggested that if you added a cost per acre, like some other localities do, that it's just one price per acre and not a price per acre for every different set of acreage, like 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 plus. She suggested picking one price, and she said for simplification on the taxpayer's part and for her office's part, she suggested looking at 12.5 cents per acre or 25 cents per acre, and she shows the values there that would be projected at each number. And so you're not looking at a huge difference in terms of your annual revenue generation, but as you go up in application fee amount, it definitely does increase significantly. But from 10 to 25, you're not looking at a huge amount, but as you go up, depending on how high you all would go up, it definitely adds up.
Well, it's like it's once every 6 years. And the email reference you sent today, if postage is going up, maybe we ought to have an increase to cover the postage.
Well, the time too. The time and the amount of time. This is, like you said, this is a huge amount of time spent, and big part of what we see going up is labor too. You know.
Yep.
But the time's only for a new application. It wouldn't be for a repeat. Because it's gonna be the same acreage every time you bring it back. So I mean, you don't have to re-verify.
They don't have to recheck anything.
You shouldn't have to if nothing's changed. Should be the same.
We had also talked about late fees potentially on this.
She mentions a late fee provision as well. She said it could be added to allow it to an additional 60 days. And if not renewed within that time frame, then the property is renewed and cannot be re-entered till the following year. I think that's our current late fee provision. What we currently have is that it's, if it's not renewed within the time frame, then the property is removed and then they can't be re-entered until the following year.
No fee. There's just no fee.
There's no fee.
No penalty for being late.
Right.
It just puts the pressure on them.
Yep.
You just lose the land use break.
For a year, which she said that the average savings is $392 a year. So it's the average savings from land use is $392 a year.
They do the verification with the reapplications to make sure nothing changed.
Yeah.
Well, my recommendation to start with a minimum would be add a $25 late fee. I think that seems reasonable. So for that period there.
Okay.
Just toss out for conversation.
Yep.
Or lack of.
I'm fine with a late fee. The question I'm having is, do we have, I thought most of our were percentage based late fees. Do we have any of this? With a 20, I'm fine with a late fee because it does require work after you've already done a bunch, but percentage or we go for $25? What do y'all think?
Personally, I have a very hard time making major county decisions when I just got the papers, so. I'm new to this and
I agree with you, but keep in mind, I only make a proposal still. So
I understand that, but at the same time, that's a whole lot to take in and this affects everybody in the county.
Okay.
I don't mind going over this stuff, but I'm gonna have a hard time voting on anything for voting on anything tonight. Just setting that out there.
I don't think we're voting. I don't think we are voting. I don't know.
In a perfect world, I'd like to have something out of the night to go set up for a public meeting in May.
Right, but even for that, you don't have to vote tonight. You
No.
don't have to vote.
No.
So, yeah, it's
No.
good to be clear. I think it's good to be clear what we're putting on it. Well, all right, I'll follow this through, make a recommendation at least for discussion, because we do, as you reminded us, we do have to make progress on this. So I'll make a recommendation to go for a $25 application fee.
Okay.
$25 late fee. And the cost breaker of the 12.5 cents. So that'll be the lower of all of the recommended amounts. But I think considering this hasn't gone up in so long and looking at what we compared across counties, I think that seems like a reasonable recommendation. The citizens who use this, which is they still get a significant savings in tax. I mean, for taking it, this is an optional program. And if they opt into it, they get a significant savings in taxes on it. So I still think it'll be, in the end, still very beneficial to them.
So you're looking at a $2,800 increase in revenue? Is that the way
I think if you take it,
Yeah, it's not going to be a remarkable.
Right, it's not, but
revenue.
it's something.
It's not, I don't even consider it about significantly increasing the revenue. It's just trying to keep up with the costs that it's taking to process them, et cetera. And like the late fee, just encouraging people to meet the deadline, to not put the pressure on the office to to that time period.
Mr. Chairman, I'm tracking a $5,500 increase in revenue. That's the 1,700 roughly from the increased application fee, and then the additional 30-some hundred from the cost per acre. Based on the.
But how would you apply the late fee if you get kicked out if you don't meet the deadline?
The late fee is only for those 60 days. It's only for those 60 days. So it's here. It's the 60 days after January 1st, when they allow even now to come in late. They still allow them today, you just don't get any penalty for that period. After that period, you don't.
So they give them a 60-day grace period.
Essentially, there's a
Okay.
grace period today, and so it makes the free grace period have a, you're still getting
Gotcha.
grace, but there's a small cost for the grace.
Gotcha.
Which,
It doesn't affect the, you're gonna be removed if you miss the hard deadline. I'm saying that out loud to make sure
I haven't read
that's your understanding as well, though, right?
what I'm seeing is, yes, sir,
Okay.
that based on what the commissioners provided, there's that 60-day grace period, and then the property is removed.
Right.
At that 60 days now, if these fee changes were approved for FY25, if you came after January 1st, you could still be fine. You could reapply technically, but you would have the $25 fee. You wouldn't be kicked out of the program for a year. And kicked out of the program for a year would mean, according to the commissioner, the average savings from land use of $392 a year.
So she says we can pick the amount of grace. They usually only give it, they're only currently giving about a 2-week grace period. We can make it the 60 or 30. We don't even have to decide that today necessarily, because we'll have to rewrite the ordinance. Taylor, right? We'll have to rewrite the ordinance anyway. So. And I don't have a preference on that. I'm open to suggestion on that. Anyway, that's my suggestion on that whole piece. I feel like we need to make some decisions on each one that's presented so we can get some movement.
I'm fine with those. What's everybody else think?
Let's move on. I mean, I don't see where it's an issue. We need to cover some
All right.
of the costs to do some of this instead of everybody in the county paying the bill.
All right,
Can we make so on that theory, can we make some decisions on the beephole ones before we keep adding more and more groups to look at? Because then it just gets to be an overwhelming number to go back to.
let me get back to it.
So what was the most recent recommendations we had on beephole before we looked at this split out grading? We had a recommendation for increasing beephole generally, didn't we?
I think it was suggested at the last meeting to do a 25% across the board, which would generate an additional, the thought behind that before we got this breakdown was it would generate an additional $100,000.
That sounds right to me.
I think that was what y'all discussed on Wednesday night.
25%, because we didn't have these.
I'll point out that the existing rates we had when they were adjusted in 17, the board wanted them right in the middle of the range.
And we still are
So,
similar.
except for financial real estate and sales, which was increased since then to 58 cents allowable. Everything else is right halfway in between. At 50% level.
And that 25%, that was what you had recommended. I mean, I'm alive with this, by the way, to be clear. You were thinking the 25%. And we could still do the 25. I'm asking because we could still do the 25%, but you just do it on the individual rates there instead of across the top. You just take 25% on the 10 cent retail, 25% on the 25-cent
Treat them
wholesale.
all the same. Correct.
Treat them all the same, as long as it doesn't push it across the maximum, which it looks like it won't for any of them.
So would that mean we're going to recommend 75% of the maximum? Would that be the 25%.
Well, I was just gonna do, I was gonna recommend a 25% increase from where we are today. Not necessarily 75% of the state maximum,
Okay.
because that may put us still well below the state maximums.
That's a little easier math because you can do 25% times 411. Correct?
You could assume that. I mean, it may not be exact because different category, but yeah, it's close to that. It'd be close to that. So Taylor, just make sure I'm thinking the same way you are on that. So like on retail sale, if we were to say 75% of the state maximum, we'd be at 15 cents. Right? But if instead we say increase by 25%, then
Yeah, 12.12 and a half.
right. So my recommendation would then, it'd be a smaller increase in this particular case. It varies by the row, but to the 12 and a half cents.
I'm
Just making sure we're saying the same. And particularly if you're running the numbers, then.
I got 12 and a half cents would be the new retail sales.
Mhm.
3.1 cents would be the new wholesale sales. 22.5 cents would be the new repair, personal, etc. 31.25 would be the financial real estate. And then 10 cents would be for contractors and 11.25 for speedways, carnivals, events. It's
Need to round these things up and make them even.
Yeah, it's 25 cents per one. I mean, sorry, 25% per category.
I'll further that, my original recommendation to round.
So 12 and a half cents, you would go to stay there at 12 and a half or go to 13?
I believe it's 13.
Well, it still could equal out with a decimal. You just want to round up to the next penny.
Yeah.
Or next whole number is it?
Yeah. Round up or down based on the.
So the
To-
wholesale, instead of 3.1 would be
To the 100.
Yep,
To the 100th though, instead of the 1,000 of
okay.
the decimal.
But you want to pure round it. You don't want to round it up.
My suggestion was pure round, that way it'll be across the board, it'll probably balance out.
So 13 cents for retail sales, 3 cents for wholesale, 23 cents for repair, 31 cents for financial real estate, 10 cents for contractors, and 11 cents for speedways.
Again, I'm trying to make recommendations so we can.
I think that was clear. 25% increase on existing rates with a purely rounded to the nearest penny. Nearest hundred.
Which I guess is penny,
Mhm.
but I guess that is the same. You are right.
For sake of argument today, can we just do, we'll say 25% of 411? We figure about $100,000,
It'll be that same, yeah.
just notes and years. Is that cool with you, Ray?
Yes, sir. I'll add that in.
I think that should.
Mr. Easter, I saw you requested the sharing privilege. Did you see? Can you view it now?
I
Did that
can,
come
but
up?
I haven't, I can.
Okay. I just didn't know if you could. I wanted to
I'm back and forth
confirm.
between documents, but I
Understood.
can, but yes, it worked.
Good. Thank you.
I just already had an account on a different email. That's all.
All right. Is vehicle down too? Or is that all?
Vehicle,
Is that all for me paying?
I'll just be poll.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
right. And then if they have, so kind of recap, then if a business has, real estate, or if they have personal property, typically vehicles, then they pay the real estate taxes like anybody else, it's the same calculation, and they submit an asset list for personal property. personal property is, because it's a business, personal property is on a depreciation schedule, which their tax professional or accountant should have do the same method for depreciation as what commission revenue does. And then the tax, we set it's the same tax rate that we're establishing for personal property, but it's based off the depreciated values, which is essentially the same way that values work for individuals' personal property too. Because you think about that book, when you get your personal property bill, same vehicle you have goes down in value every year. You just use depreciate. When it's a business, you use depreciation value instead of the NADA book, because a lot of your personal, quote unquote, personal property on a business isn't rated by like NADA or something like that.
All right.
You want to go to your third? Oh, sorry.
Any more questions on?
I didn't know if y'all wanted to go back to vehicle, if y'all want to stick with the $5 to $10 vehicle license and amending the ordinance. I know Supervisor Morris had brought up some stuff about the sticker and the fees associated. So I didn't know if y'all wanted to stick right now, if you stuck with what was originally there, it was the 107,000 per $5. So at $10 it'd be 214,000, and that's of course pending a ordinance amendment.
So. Above the registration fee, that, they're not reading that.
That's my understanding from the commissioner, and what she provided is that you cannot go above the
All right.
DMV yearly registration.
My suggestion is gonna be, y'all ready? I'm just gonna go right down the list, 15, 25, 30 for the trailer, which is blank. And 30 all the way down to the last one, and motorcycle will be 20.
Which
Three,
document?
not 30.
Just tell me which document you're on. I just
It's
lost
this
that.
one right here. It's the one that was right after, the land use.
Oh, I think.
All of them 30 except for the first two and the last one.
Oh, I stopped it.
Say it again.
The first one's 15, the second one's 25. All the rest of them 30, and then the motorcycle at the bottom's 20. That keeps it. below
15, 25, and 30. And then the last one was 20.
Yep.
Still really shit all business.
All right.
I can't speak to what that would add you revenue wise, but we can figure that out and have it at your next
Well,
meeting.
I think we're gonna be somewhere in the 107 range.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep that.
First one's 15, then 25, then 30, all the way down to motorcycle. Well, motorcycle will be 20.
I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Thank you, sir.
You mentioned the ordinance change. It's gonna be two ordinances on that, one for the decal and one for the license, but we also need a separate ordinance
Good.
to suspend with $5 to the road construction for 1 year. So it's gonna be two ordinances changed. The way I see it.
And that's the three technically that we discussed today. Land use,
Well,
just make sure we have it tracking.
land use, people
People.
ordinance too, right?
It's, you have to get all that.
Yep.
Land
People,
use, people. Yeah, I don't know if this one is,
Vehicle li-
I think there might be two changes in the same ordinance around the license tax. We'll see where,
Okay.
I don't know if it's one or two ordinances.
making sure I have a
like
good-
changes, yeah,
chain of notes for Jeff to look at.
right.
But while we're in this mode, can we touch the airplane tax?
Sure.
Mhm.
Because that needs to be touched. Nobody around charges as high as we are.
Right.
And I was looking around, which we've had some information sent to us. The county provides nothing for those people. we're losing revenue because they're taking them to Chesterfield, Blackstone, wherever. So I figure hitting 50 cents. And if we can get it, we can get it. It's more than we've been getting. But I just think 415 is a little steep for not providing anything.
I think it does need to be fair and it needs, yeah.
And they gotta go to Blackstone to get fuel. It's a private airport.
Make a suggestion.
It's simple. I think you did.
I just did. He said,
Okay.
I support that.
How does that rank with the other surrounding counties?
some are zero.
Yeah, we had those.
We've got a list.
We did, but it's been a
It's a
couple,
list,
it's
yeah.
been a couple months since we had it.
It's,
The low one, 50%.
You wanna?
yeah, he can.
I have.
Second time.
I think it sent this to y'all.
Yeah, I know you sent it. We've got a lot, we just don't have them all handy.
Those are the lists.
So Buckingham 55, Chesterfield 50, Cumberland 50, Dinwiddie 50. That's Fredericksburg, yes, 1 cent. Maybe that's all there kind of. Hanover 50 cent, Nottaway $1. Orange, Prince Edward 50 cent. Prince Edward's got a whole, it's a lot of, yeah, no, it's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of variation here.
Well, some of them also provide stuff for them too.
They do, 50 cent.
All of them provide an airport.
Yeah, because we have to pay,
I get it.
we have to actually pay rent.
Let me see.
Well, we pay a fee just to fly out the airport.
Yeah. You know, I don't know to make everybody happy with any of the stuff we're doing, by the way. This is the tough situation we're in. It's a significant decrease over what we've already got, is the way I would say it. Over what we're charging. What we're charging.
Well, now I can buy an airplane and hold me back.
All right,
That's up to y'all. It's 5.
Well, I told you I don't follow that recommendation, so. Others need to speak up or no?
I talked to Mr. White yesterday, and it seemed to me that there's no way to assess these airplanes. So that you go off to bill a sale for what you buy, but anything else we assess is a depreciation or whatever, so. I mean, to me, the key is the assessment of what the vehicles are valued at. NVDA does vehicles, but there's nothing to do with planes, but
I bet there's something that is playing.
I was gonna say, Laura sent us how she's valuing them. Okay, I need to pull it back out. Hold on.
I'm y'all thought, that's just my thought.
No, 50 cents.
And we're gonna go for the cent then.
But if you give me a second, just so while we're on it, just like, yeah, I found it. Hold on 1 second. Let me just read. It's long. I have lots of it. I think I was wrong. It's how she got the registrations, not the values. I think I was wrong. Yeah,
The other county.
and it's so,
Maybe.
well, I think it was, yeah, she'll, okay, hold on, she's messing. Laura's sick today. Oh, okay. I was about to say the same thing she's just saying. Basically do it the same way as a business. Depreciation off of the original purchase prices would be as her recommendation. And so once she knows someone has it, then just like a business, she'll send them forms, work with the owner.
I'll just say one more thing. So I've said it before. I just caution us, because we're picking out a certain group of vehicles, whatever. What happens when campers get a special, special
They do.
with boats?
I
Do
mean,
campers get a special race?
there's special code, you get special rates on I mean, you saw trailers get a different license fee. Motorcycles, I mean, we have variation among stuff.
Okay,
We have variation.
all right.
I think the difference is, I don't disagree. Sorry, David, I didn't mean to disagree with you. We do have some variation. The biggest reason for this one is they don't use the highways.
We provide nothing. There's no cost to the county.
Your differentiation there that makes this one more justified than the rest.
Did y'all have anything else that y'all wanted to add while we're talking about it? Us? Yeah. And we just, we just wanted to be fair,
I think the main argument, which has already been mentioned, is that the county provides no services for us. The purpose of taxing somebody is so that the county has a wherewithal to provide services for the people who are paying the taxes. Otherwise, if people are taxed and there's no service in return whatsoever, then, you might as well put a gun to their head and take their billboard when they get out.
Well, you
That's
go-
what it is.
Although I don't disagree with you in theory, keep in mind, we don't fund roads either in Amelia. That counties don't, that's state. So
You don't spend any money, the county spends absolutely no money on roads.
that's be done.
It's all be done.
And that's not just Amelia, that's the state of Virginia, that's state of Virginia.
You can provide ramps for boats, in the river or anything.
Mm-mm.
That'd be game commission.
That's state.
That's all.
state also.
Okay.
My point is, I'm not disagreeing with you, my point is, the state allows counties certain ways to fund county operations. It's not actually directly tied to services provided for that revenue. That's not a part of how our tax code works. So for example, even your real estate taxes, there's no correlation directly between that and the other. Your real estate taxes, whether you have children in school or not, are going to go to pay portions of school funding, things like that. There is no correlation between a tax paid and a service received in Virginia, period. So we just can't, we're trying to make it fair, as you see, we're doing our best, but we can't go down that road of logic because it doesn't apply to any taxes.
But you go collect all these planes that are moving to Chesterfield January 1 for 50 cents. Now they'll just stay here.
Except for the ones that people live in Chesterfield,
They have that option.
they'll get taxed in Chesterfield, I guess.
Not if they're flying out of here. You got all these hangars, these gliders and stuff.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I understand, I know what the taxes go. My wife and I never had children for, 40 years we've been paying for kids to go to school, and that's just part of where we live, so. I do believe that I should pay some tax for my airplane. It's personal property, it's an airplane, and the bottom line is every other county around here, mostly every other county, for some reason Orange does it. Orange didn't because apparently everyone was leaving Orange, maybe they had a higher tax. But I think the 50 cents is fair. That's just what everybody else is doing. I'm not trying to disagree with my neighbor, but I agree that, I didn't expect any services from the county. We don't have a county airport. At one point, Mr. Kavanaugh, I don't know if any of you are on the board, but at one point, Mr. Kavanaugh was talking with the county supervisors about actually having that turn into an actual county airport. And maybe, as Chesterfield keeps moving this way, maybe that'll be the case someday when Eric sells the airport. But I agree, I want to pay my taxes, but I just want it to be fair.
I'm not opposed to paying taxes, but I'm opposed to paying a large amount of taxes, which is 5 or 6 times higher than any of the surrounding counties who have airports. And the counties get benefit out of those airports.
Oh, I would say that it should.
Well,
First of all, it's not a public hearing, to be fair, we offer
Okay.
you the privilege to speak. You can't, but I just want to be careful. But to say, we are decreasing this significantly then from the $4 and some to 50 cents. We can't notice we're raising a lot of other people's taxes too, so.
And I don't think any airplane has been taxed in Amelia for
Wait.
quite some time.
Well, they haven't been paying, but she's been taxing.
All right, well, we helped out a little bit.
We're doing what we can.
All right. Where we at now?
So I think, we made it through vehicle, land use and vehicle licenses. If you guys want to go to the other sheet that I provided, which is just some various departments, heard the discussions of the last meeting and their proposed increases. Starting with Parks and Recreation. I know, I believe Supervisor Morris and Robinson worked with the Parks and Rec director to look at some of those fees. Based on what the Parks and Rec director shared with me, these are the list of proposed increases, and it's at the current usage rate. It would be about $23,000 of increased revenue. Now, that's with the caveat that the Parks and Rec director doesn't know if these increased fees are going to decrease the usage rate at all. But at the current usage rate of all facilities, whether it be your adult leagues, registrations, youth league registrations, weight room, pickleball, gym rental, be about $23,000 of additional revenue with these increases.
And he insinuated a lot of other people come to Amelia just because we're cheaper than other places.
Okay.
So.
I'm certainly fine with this one. I'll give you an example on here though. You all know for sure I do Amelia Day. We've never paid to rent the courthouse square for Amelia Day. Ever. Not that we would not oppose.
We're gonna cheat for 3 years back tax.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't think we would object, but I mean, we go through, my point is we've talked a lot about enforcing things. We go through the county permitting. No one through the permitting process ever then sends us a bill or said, like, they sign off, including Public Works.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you, there's been very few courthouse square rentals on file, but there's been a significant amount of county lot rentals.
Yeah.
So I think something that we can do as staff is we can just step up the enforcement of courthouse square rentals.
Well, I think fees in general, and I mean, no one likes fees, but we've talked about fees are at least optional, and fees you're receiving a value and a service for. And I agree with what Benji said. It's not on this particular fee, but fees like the animal control too. Like, if we've got things we have to be charging for them, and we have to be following through. Otherwise, to Todd's point about fairness, it's not fair when you're not charging either, because then people who follow the rules or don't use the service are not paying.
Yes, sir.
And that's then not fair in the opposite direction too. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
So in 22, we had 26 county lot rentals. We had 1 courthouse square rental. 23, we had 36 county lot rentals. 2 courthouse square rentals. 24, we've had no courthouse square rentals so far. We're only 4 months in, but we've had 24 county lot rentals. So we've almost matched our 22 total in the first 4 months. So,
By the way, let me also clarify, there's some details, obviously not on, this is on update. It may also be that, nonprofit, certain things don't charge. I want to be fair to Public Works and others. I'm not saying they're not enforcing. This is a theoretical conversation I'm having. Just noting the one organization that I'm involved with,
Yep.
Courthouse Square, they may be doing everything exactly right based on underlying
We gotta be more mindful.
procedures. I want to be very
We can
clear.
definitely
I'm
make
not
sure
calling-
that-
very, very clear to everyone. I'm not calling them out for not following rules. Yeah.
so that's,
So have you and Stephanie reconciled on all the dogs, y'all were, I know there were maxes, she was talking about last time and all.
Yeah, I think so.
What's in here that is reconciles with? Okay, great.
I talked with the treasurer today regarding the proposed dog tags and the collection fees, and she would seem both fine with both of these. And then based on the current revenue from collection fees, you really just add 33%. If you do the math there, between the two, you're looking at the 7,800 for dog tags and the 6,300 for collection fees.
So why don't you go back on the tags? Why is it 4 and neutered and spayed? Why is there so many categories? now?
That's the current.
Oh, okay.
So what I did is I listed the current ones, so, and then I listed the proposed right below.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
That's good.
And we just gotta make sure we follow up and somebody make sure that the money people are paying their stuff. Whether it's renting a courthouse square or buying a dog tax.
So is everybody fine with all, so it's 3 categories of these, Parks and Rec, Public Works and Treasurer.
Mhm.
With all these changes and
You talked to Daryl about these
Yes, I spoke with
And the
Darryl about
amounts.
this.
and they were for that.
I think he's fine with that. Yes, sir. I will say with the EDA sign display, we didn't do anything there because they haven't really done, that's when someone rents the message board. It's not really used that much. So maybe the thing we do there is just try to get more people to use it.
Yeah.
That might be what we do there to try to generate some additional revenue. All right. So that is all of, I think, catching up from the last meeting. I'm gonna pull up, sorry. It's here at work. I'm gonna pull up the document here. Can't make that bigger. Is that a little better?
Yeah, but hang on for it to get out all these sheets.
No,
This,
I fell down a bunch of steps today.
damn it. Go back to the COR.
Don't.
All right, sheet, the B poll.
The second one, land use depot vehicle license, meals tax. It says meal tax, will not enforce meal tax without another staff number added to the office.
I thought the state law said if we had an ordinance on, she's required to do it.
it does. She's required to do state ones, not county ones.
That's something that's going to be looked into. All right, sorry, Brady. Okay.
Well, I'll go back at just a second too. Does the dog tag thing need an ordinance change?
Yes,
Yeah, he's making notes.
Okay, so that's another one.
Yeah,
all of those, yeah,
there's a lot of ownership.
yeah, the check fee, the collection one, all of it will require an ordinance change.
So, tax? What y'all's feeling on that?
Sure, it's legal there.
It's definitely one that I would say I've gotten the most negative feedback about from citizens.
What was farm bills? Tax, meal tax? I know.
8 or 10 cent.
I was
higher.
there
When I went,
Sunday, you can't find a place to park up there.
when I went to the PSR meeting last month, 7%, yeah. I had a fit. I never paid any attention to it. I was running late. Stopped by that cookout place. Yeah.
Fish and Pig, they were lying down the side roads. Applebee's parking lot was full.
All right, you gonna start?
So here we go. I just want, this is a working document, and I shared it with you all. So hopefully if we update anything, you guys can track the changes.
What number are we working with off the top?
So that's where we start. It's 315514.
What number are we working at?
That's $13,559,625.
Okay. $13,500,000.
$13,559,625. Y'all want to work from 12/5 That number right there would go to 4155,141. The
I'm fine working with this number as we go through and then we'll just.
13.5.
Yeah, you got it all, go ahead. I just asked the question. That's all I want to know is what we want
That-
off of.
That's just based on the projections that were provided from the Commissioner of Revenue's office from each category. It comes out to 13,559,625. So with that revenue in the current workbook, at a level funded budget, including the assessor's office plus EMS expansion, no COLA, you were at 3,155. I put that there. I should have put an asterisk next to it because I haven't done it yet, but I wanted to remind us, we might reduce revenue projections. If we do reduce it, that's going to go to 4. Okay. We decrease the capital outlay, taking out the fire truck, we're pushing back the last ambulance payment and the sheriff's vehicles. That's 981. Decreasing the EMS revenue recovery projection from 700,000 to 600,000. That drops you back 100,000. Here's the 3 positions, salary and benefits, and then the deputy registrar is part-time, so it's just the wages. That's the total of those 3. Adding your 3% COLA, increasing your real estate tax 5 cents. At the end of last meeting, I believe it was discussed that the personal property tax might not be increased, so I took that out. I didn't figure that in. This is including the machinery and tools tax that was discussed 2 meetings ago, the $1 to $3.15. The 6% meals tax, the vehicle license tax, which we need to rework that number now that we've done these other changes. So that number will need to be reworked. Increasing the sewer rates, decreasing the EMS department budget, decreasing the contribution to the emergency squad.
I'm sorry, which one do you say we need to change?
The vehicle license tax, now that we suggested something different, I think we need to go through and just rework.
Just fine tune the number.
Yep, fine tune there's going to be a number there, but fine tune that one.
Okay.
The B poll, I put 100,000 for our discussions. The land use application, 5,500. Parks and Recs, the Public Works, and then the Treasurer. That leaves you at $199,000 deficit.
With the changes we just made prior to into this.
Yep, with the Treasurer fee updates, the Public Works,
For that one.
except for the vehicle license.
We're taking and pinching everybody else when having to give up something they want, maybe want to give up the assessor. I'll put it in the black, won't it?
It depends what projection we were using. Initial workbook was 143,000, but last week I think it was mentioned increasing
This
that.
calculation,
And this calculation right now, it's be at 143,000.
that brings us a lot closer.
Yep. So we can,
Well, I think we still have to look at the schools as well. We can do a follow-up from last week's discussion on that either.
What was that funding? You changing the number? Are we going to go back to the assessor's office? Is that what everybody wants to do?
Everybody else getting his toes up on their toes.
I would think too.
What do you think, Tom?
My word's my word.
All right. Is that a get rid of it?
Yeah.
so now you're at 56,154. Okay. Comma there. And this is with Mr. Easter brought up the schools. I appreciate that clarification. There's been some discussion at each meeting. This is still with the level funded for the schools. So last year's funding was 6,968. And then with the textbook funds in addition, this budget has them at 7 million flat. So it's a little bit of an increase from last year. It's not completely level funded. 7 million with the $91,775 of textbook funds.
Before we go there, can I ask
Yes.
one
Sure.
hopefully more straightforward question? There was discussion at the very end of last week's meeting about
flat 5% cut. I think you made that statement across.
Yeah,
That is not factored in.
That is not factored
and
in.
he said it's gone. He looked at some departments and said this, it's just not there.
I actually agree. I think that would be rather hard to sustain considering all of the increases in true cost too. I just wanted to make sure I understood where it fell on that. Okay.
So I went and just looked through, you like 23 of the departments listed in your departmental expenditures, 23 of the lines are like contracts, so we can't
Yeah.
decrease them. They're at a set rate, and a couple of those may go up because we're going to be entering the RFP year.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other ones, when meeting, especially even with the larger departments and going line by line with them through their budget, really the only thing we could cut from everybody's budget that was a surplus, unless you went into salaries. So if you deducted salaries or did not do the COLA, anything else was really like travel, convention, and education. And total across the board, there's about 60,000 budgeted for travel, convention, and education. And most of that is related to organizations that various professionals in the county have to be members of, and then they attend those conventions, usually for credits or recertification. For me, it's the Virginia Association of Zoning Officials. To maintain my CZA, I have to attend the annual conference because it gives me 12 credits towards recertification. But if you cut that travel budget, that'd be $60,000. If you shut down any travel, convention, or education related items for the departments, would save you $60,000. Which for a year, I don't think would kill anybody. Most people's certifications are multi-year, so for a year, it could be something worth looking at.
Now, we're adding stuff in this budget that we've not used before, lines, correct?
In terms of,
Like, Public Works, County Lot Courthouse Square rental. I mean, has that ever been there before?
that's in the fee schedule. It's in the fee schedule
No, I mean, has it been built in, has a number been built into the budget?
for the revenue.
Yes,
Yes.
it has.
Yep. So if you go to,
So is that number increase what it would be for the amount?
that's the increase.
Okay.
I'm just putting the increase in there for those fees. That's not the total. That's an increase based on the changes.
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
was told something today, and I can't remember what it was, that it was a fee in last year's budget that has never been in the budget before.
Which
I
one
can't-
is that?
I don't know, I've got to think.
Anyone you bring to me, we have Mr. Worrell had created a very detailed Excel document with 25 tabs. And one of them is a revenue detail page, and it's every single revenue line that we have and what the projected revenue for that year is. So if you have any questions on revenue lines, it'll take me a while, but we can sit there together and go through them and identify them.
All right, along there, maybe it was just on the sheet. We've gone through a lot of sheets. We
Mhm.
talked about increasing fees for event permits.
Yes.
Did that end up making it through or?
So I went and looked at other counties, and it's surprising, we actually are one of the only ones that charge like a permit application fee.
Okay.
Most
You're
other
fine.
counties, yeah, so I think we're fine there. I think the way that,
I'm not
Those
pushing on
events,
increasing it
yeah.
as much as just making sure we follow through
Mhm.
and stuff. So I'm okay.
but a good point, and I think the way that those events will be hit this year is meals tax. Because a lot of them have food vendors. And those food vendors would, if we begin the program, would be liable.
Yeah.
So that would definitely change the impact on the special event in terms of what food vendors how their food vendor wants to
Right.
handle that.
I'll make another suggestion along Benji's line of thought, which I liked, which was, basically spread the hit to us. So we do not get paid much, essentially $1,000 a month, but I think I will make a suggestion. We should cut our rate of pay in half, at least for the next year, then to $500 a month. That would be a $33,000 savings. That's just in pay. That doesn't count FICA, et cetera. I'm just doing a very rough number. Brady.
I don't know if I'd go half. I'd go a 5% reduction. I mean, I do spend a lot of gas, and I know this is volunteer,
I was like, yeah.
but I would, I could see a 5% reduction, but I don't think I'd go half. What do y'all think?
That's $60,000 a year, roughly $1,000 each person.
It's 66,000 because there's a very slight variation per chair, but
Okay.
I want a gas voucher. I figure mine up how to lose money.
oh, I lose money too. But I don't do it to make money.
I don't neither,
I know you don't.
but nobody else taking a cut in salary. I'm on fixed income.
Just making a
And
suggestion.
it's not like
for
we're getting
discussion.
rich, what we get paid. And I've had so many people say, what do you get paid to be a supervisor? I told them, say, you gotta be an idiot to do that.
Oh, they tell me the same. I agree. Already an idiot, in for an ounce, in for a pound.
Most I would be willing to do is a 5%.
That's,
We haven't touched anybody else's pay. We've stayed away from that and actually given a 3% raise. But y'all,
That's how we did it.
yep,
Yes,
It is. I thought there was no cola up top.
that was where we started. That's,
Yeah, the
that's,
COLA's-
Okay.
but the COLA's been added back in
Yeah.
since the.
I missed it. I
There
got
it
it.
is, right there in the red.
Yeah.
So what's the difference when your little stipend? What does that do to it?
What stipend?
it depends. If we have 108 employees, when talking with HR, it seems like it'd be difficult to work out. Well, it was discussed when we, like,
Instead of the
three
COLA.
or four workshops ago,
Yeah,
I put on the presentation
that
like a
would-
flat rate instead of COLA.
Yeah,
Because if you times it by the 108 employees, it would technically save you money.
yeah. That would be difficult because, that would be difficult because of the way, because it would be opposite of the way the state does it, things like, it would be, I like the idea, it would be challenging to implement, I think, but I like the idea.
This whole thing's challenging. But
I like the 3%.
I'm with David on the 3. I mean, I think that's it.
everybody pays the same gas. Will you make 6 figures or?
All right, we'll go back
I agree.
to the M&T.
Can we finish a decision on that one then?
All right, go ahead.
On the
No,
COLA,
no.
No, on
The salary pay.
the board pay,
board pay?
What's everybody think?
5% reduction would be $3,300, yeah.
I'd go with 5%. Dexter? Did you?
Fine, he's fine with it.
I don't care.
Fine, we got enough funds.
Should we do a 5% reduction?
I thought that's what you're asking, yeah.
I'm just asking. All right.
So majority are good with 5%.
Okay.
So
That's just for this year, or what's your timeline on that? Permanent or?
I think Mr. East, you said for how long for the first?
Well, I proposed half for 1 year, but
1 year's fine. For
The rest of this year, or what, when you're starting now?
the
What,
next budget cycle.
Next budget cycle.
budget cycle,
We'll go from there.
the year being the budget cycle, yeah, July.
Yeah.
July.
All right, what do you do with the T?
I think it's too much of a hit myself for right out the box. I mean, if you go raise taxes, it needs to be kind of gradual. That's a pretty big hit.
Well, we want to run every business out the county. Let's leave it there, because that's the route we own. And we have no new businesses wanting to come to this county, because look at that. Because I've had business people call me in the last week about that. What are you trying to do? Make us move to Chesterfield? Hey, I'm just one person.
About which tax though, because
M&T.
but we're still, which one are we higher than, where would they pay less?
Chesterfield, I think, gives them a large decrease on machinery and tools.
They do, but,
Yep. But every other county around us, we would, 315, you would be,
remember, almost
I have to go
nobody
back and
really is
look.
paying M&T, so I should make sure we apples to apple. I'm not against decreasing it. I wasn't in favor of that high increase in the first place, but just a lot of people complaining about M&T don't pay M&T. I just want to make sure we,
I can see a little adjustment there,
oh, I can too, yeah.
but we can really hit the business of this county with the depot, and I know we gotta go up on stuff. And not to have a personal property increase, I would.
Which would have been the biggest increase, which would have been
It would have
the,
been a business.
that would have been the biggest hit to the businesses, actually, too, though. Yeah.
Well, the business had personal property too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would have, I'm agreeing with you, not to have that increase. Yeah.
No, I think we need a personal property increase. If we're hitting these businesses for all this,
We're hitting all the vehicles.
I think. Yeah, but we took away the personal property increase.
What do you mean took it away? I know, but we're hitting the vehicles on all the stickers.
Mhm. Yeah, but you're also hitting the businesses a whole lot more,
Mm.
I think.
You say 50 cents?
Well, but if you increase personal property, you're also hitting the businesses.
I know. And
Yeah. So
we're not just picking on this businesses. We need to spread it around where everybody pays. I don't want to hit the businesses as hard as we've hit them. And I can see the 315 is probably a little high, but I think we need to go back and revisit our personal property. If we're raising all these other fees, we just need to make it equal. But let's finish the M&T first.
Well, but it's hard for me to say one versus the other, because if you're gonna decrease M&T and then increase the personal property, I mean. Yeah, where are you trading off here? Because
We took the personal property out of this.
I know, but I thought you were about to propose a increase in property tax.
I would propose maybe a 10 cent, but I just think hitting the businesses that hard is a.
so
That's just too big of an increase from one year to the next. That's just,
To 1 to 150?
huh?
150?
50 cent.
Yeah, I do 50 cent.
Okay.
I mean, I just think it's more fair. If you want some more next year, then go after a little more next year, but that's just a lot to come up with.
now that $100,000 is because.
Yeah.
It's 50,000, it's a $50,000 per quarter of tax. So at 125, it'd be 50 additional, 150 is 100 additional. Approximately. That takes your number here to negative 352.
Okay.
So you're 352,000 in the red in terms of your impact on your general fund balance.
All right, well, we didn't finish the conversation on schools either.
Mhm.
So problem I have with where we left the schools last time is the money from the state that we're going to leave on the table. So as we talked about, for every dollar we're putting in at that, I can't remember what the term is all of a sudden.
Minimum.
Our local.
Thank you, our local effort. For every dollar we're putting in, we get $2 essentially back from the state. And it just does not seem like a smart decision for us to give up all that money from the state when I have a hard time. Yeah, that's my point. So I'd really like to see us go to the required local effort amount then, so we can get the maximum from the state that's possible. That's, as we said, it was a 67% return on our money. I think that's in the best interest of the citizens to be able to do that.
And just
That number, yeah, go ahead.
just to be clear, the required local effort is, I think, the 6.3. The minimum local funding for full state match is, there's two different terminology.
I'm gonna tell you the number that I'm
Right,
thinking.
but the minimum
I don't care
funding-
what, I don't care what, it's the 7,132,952.
Okay.
The number, I mean, Mr. Trump's in the back, but he walked us through the calculations of.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted to give the number, so, yeah.
7,132, what was the last?
952,
None.
remember, okay. I had written it down to make sure. I had it
That's
right.
the minimum at the 1515 ADM to get full state funding.
And you got 91,000 for votes.
That, 132 includes the books, correct? Yep.
Yeah.
That's above the 7,091,775. Let's see the difference there. It's about $40,000 difference. Just want to make sure.
Well, that is exactly where I'm going, Brady. It's a very minimal amount of difference. So in that case, is it 40, what is it, 40?
$41,177.
But we get another then 80 some thousand back from the state for that. I mean, I just feel like that investment we'd be not smart to turn down. But you don't have to type it in. It's my recommendation, by the way.
Well, what's the number?
Number would be 41,177. So I'm just going to put 41,200. That's okay with you guys. Sorry. Got to do negative.
Mhm.
I can't change it to red. I have to do this. It's up top here. All right, I'll get it to red in a second.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's all good.
What's that bottom number?
394,054.
All right,
What'd you say?
How much is the book pump?
Of the 7,132, Mr. Trump, do you know the number of the textbooks on the 7,132? How much?
91.
Yeah, and that next time I was looking up, one of the things I also recognize that increase is that the textbook contribution requirement for the year went up about $20,000 this year as well.
So it went from
So
91.
the textbook figure, is 91,170. That is what in the 1515, I think it was 91,775 previously, that was very recent. We started about 15.5.
but it's in that 7,132,000. Okay. All right,
About streetlights. You save $6,000 and cut streetlights off.
straight, Brady.
I'll make this red real quick for us.
You did it.
See what I'm tracking. I'm gonna make this. That's gonna change it too.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys.
No, but that's
wrong?
That's the wrong way, though.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, but
Sorry, guys. Y'all don't want $275 more a month?
I mean,
I'm just playing.
we're already losing money, so you gotta give us some more if you want, but.
Put us in negative 394.
I remember my recommendation. Bad.
So we'll do that.
394.
did the school one, the decrease when he did that too?
The school one's factored into 394.
I know, but did it go in the right direction?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's an ad.
All right. So that would be, let's see. Be about a 3% increase in the school's budget from last year. %3.3%.
All right. Go back up there to personal property. I mean, with $400,000 in the hole, folks, I mean,
You more than that.
we're probably a whole lot more than that.
That's what the 13.5 revenue.
So,
The deputies' positions should be more money than we show.
It's just
It's just,
the one. Because the other two are not in the level funded budget.
so they're washed
They
out.
already washed out.
okay.
So it's 52,000 plus 20,000 of benefits.
Now, has anybody calculated the reduction of the personal property rate last year? Since one minute we were having a 90% assessed value and it came in at what, 76%? Did we make sure that was done correctly last year?
So are you talking about the 15% personal property tax deduction that the board approved?
Real estate, the equalization.
The equalization.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we sure that was correct last year?
Equalizing at 38 cents.
Yes. It's been eating at me and I can't get it. I'm not sure it was right.
I thought it was. I thought the equalization rate was dropped at 17 cents maybe.
90%.
Yeah, but
Real estate value and it didn't come out, but it's 76%. Real number.
We went from book value and rate equals revenue to new book value to the revenue equaling out and came up with the.
Correct. It's an equalization of revenue, not
That's
the
correct.
values.
That's correct.
That's exactly right.
That's all,
It was
that's
to
what we
the
have to,
penny.
that's what we have to equalize, is our revenue.
It was to the penny.
Animal control.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to meet.
and I think we can increase that by 1% on an assessment year by law.
Yeah.
That would be.
So that's what got us to the 38 cents.
It's slush on that.
I agree with you about by law, but you said it came to the penny, so it's like exact.
It just 1% is,
We rounded up
1% is kind of equal opinion.
37 and a fraction.
So what was that? Y'all were saying we still have some fee stuff to look at it. Animal control, that was it. That's only area law,
Yep. And that's just, I just had,
but that's not gonna be normal.
yeah, before I brought any projections, I wanted to meet with the department head, and that's the one I didn't get with.
Well, David has a recommendation on the table.
I just think we've hit the depot, we've hit the machinery tools. To be fair to everybody, everybody pays a little bit on each. I just think we ought to increase their personal property. And my suggestion would be the 20 cents.
Is that the original recommendation?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little,
And it still kept us within other counties.
That's 16,000 a penny, roughly. That would be
320,000.
there we go.
Go back up and put the amount you're increasing it at. So I can see it.
Sort of lagging for some reason.
Tore out.
It is.
Yeah, probably.
415 to 435.
Yeah. It's taking a second to track. If it doesn't work, I'll just update it on my laptop and it'll carry over.
Thank you, sir.
I said, that's just a recommendation. It gets us within 75,000.
5% versus 13 or so percent on the real estate. Roughly.
We have citizen comment. Are there any decreases on the expenditure side?
Well,
There's tons listed through there. We've just dealt with them in previous sessions, but
Yeah. I mean,
there's tons.
They're level funded off of what
First
they
of all,
got
there's
last
no
year.
increase. First of all, there's no increases. And we cut positions. There's a lot of decreases.
well, cutting positions that haven't considered what the government.
Oh. You're not seeing all the decreases already. It's been done in previous sessions.
we'll have a public hearing when we get to.
Well, those, just to be clear, those were previously filled. Those are just the capping of a vacancy currently. No, they're not new hires. They're not new hires.
Meals tax in there.
These
Meals
are
tax,
not new hires.
Yep.
meals tax is right there.
There's new hires at the top, didn't even get factored in, because we did not add them.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems odd that schools are big. That still increases because you get free money, you get that trash.
Well, unfortunately, this is our sixth session. We'd have to walk you back through all those, so,
Okay.
but not today.
You think we can stand a $74,000 hit out of the general fund?
Well, it's a lot better than we've been.
Laurel said if increasing the trailers up by 15, make 74,000.
Just the trailers. Okay. I'll get with her. I don't want to get one. Thank you.
Well, but if that would,
That would bring us,
so which number would that in?
I haven't added, I can add a line for it. Well, I can amend this line.
She's giving me numbers of
Right.
different areas.
Right now, we have 214 as a placeholder for vehicle license.
But we could,
It would go within that number. It wouldn't be an addition to that number,
yeah, it's
What are you
almost,
talking about? No, I'm talking about stickers.
right?
which is the 214 line. He's right, that is.
Okay, well, I'm trying to do her math and look at this.
Yeah, so. Yeah, if you have a total new number, great. If it's
He's
just
working.
within, it's hard to.
Yeah, I'll have to sit with her again and just get a whole new number. We'll use this one as a placeholder. Hopefully they come in. Assuming they'll probably come in.
As good or better.
Yeah, I would hope.
All right, gentlemen, do we have a budget we can advertise?
I think you do.
Todd,
You know where I stand.
I gotta have, you gotta tell me something.
Don't take but 3.
I don't like it.
Well, I don't like it. I mean, yeah, if we're doing it, we like it. That's a whole different story. You know,
I like your top number.
you know, there's multiple aspects I don't like either.
What you bringing?
Has some issues with some stuff.
Dexter?
That wasn't your question, but that wasn't your.
Well, I mean, we started at the gate saying 4 cents, and we've not even seen 4 cents ever. And I understand we gotta make money, but it just really bothers me. We tell people one thing and do something different. I mean, I know nobody knows knew we were in this bad of shape. But at the same time, we say one thing and do another, and that really doesn't sit well with me.
Sounds like a professional politician.
So if you come up with something that you're going to advertise for a public hearing, you can make all sort of changes after the public hearing, with the exception of raise the rate. You got to make sure you've got enough funding in there. Because if you decide after the public hearing that you want to make budget adjustments that go include increasing your rates and your taxes, you'll have to go back out to public hearing again.
Yeah.
Right. We're just, yeah, so to David's point, I mean, I think that's, and what Taylor's saying, that's what you need. This isn't a done deal.
No, it's not, no, we still gotta listen to the
It's
public.
right. It's something you can advertise. That's what you need to be able to move the process forward. And I don't think any of us are happy. But can you move it forward from a process standpoint?
Okay, but if you can't change fees, how do you make up $1 million?
Can change fees.
Rates, tax rates.
Revenue, on the revenue side, that is what we're talking about.
And I agree. Yeah.
Not fees, but the revenue, bottom line revenue within the categories.
Right.
Okay.
So you can you can advertise at a higher number then. And you can come down. Or you all right, let's put it in broader perspective too. Or you have another advertisement. It's not you're done either. All that means is without having another advertisement and hearing. And Taylor, correct me if I'm saying that wrong, but I mean, it doesn't, you're not saying you're locked, you can never raise again, et cetera. It's what Taylor said is true without having to advertise or have another public hearing. And frankly, considering the magnitude of what we're doing, if that's the worst case scenario is we listen to the public and then we come back around and make more changes and it requires us to advertise and have another hearing. I don't think that's a bad thing to say to citizens. In fact, I usually have a bigger problem with the fact that we listen to the citizens, do a public hearing, and then have a pretty much rubber stamp votes several days later. Going, heard you, and it moves forward on the same pace. So
I say give it a couple of days and do another workshop.
What's gonna change?
Some of the stuff.
What's it gonna change?
Well, more ideas. Maybe somebody's watching, got some ideas. I don't know.
well, let them have a hearing though, so they can talk.
You've got until next Monday. If you're close, we've got until next Monday. You met next Monday and said, this is what to advertise. If we prepped monitor, we could get it in next week's paper.
The thing that concerns me, you're basing it off of 13.5 for revenue off the real estate, personal property, M&T and all that.
Why don't we meet Thursday?
And we've not gotten there today in the basement.
Thursday.
Can't do it.
Well, I can save some gas money. I won't go to phone bill. Seems like all my meetings are some of the farthest ones away.
Well,
Cause Monday,
look, and I'll be honest, for different reasons, but I think I agree with Dexter, like, what's gonna change? What's gonna be different? I mean, I don't even totally disagree with Todd, but it's the same conversation we've been having over and over.
trying to feel what people want to do.
And so,
Well, there's a couple things he can look at. And some of the stuff's new to me. I don't know. And today's, we've actually made more progress than we have on the other meetings, but still. Needs to sit, think on it. That's just me.
I say send it to public hearing.
I'm with you.
Well, it takes 3.
So what are we gonna do about the capital side? If 3 capital projects that we had talked about, that'll have to be in an advertised.
I thought we were holding all capital improvements.
I think it was 3. I'll say it. We're $14-15 million worth of CIP on the books. And this will drain everything we have if we did them all at one time. I would propose so freeze the CTE building for the construction part of it. They still have $1 million grant that they can do their planning and stuff. We can't dump that money out of our accounts right now. I would like to fund the railway protection because we need to take care of our water. And I would propose we fund the animal shelter, but we don't start it till next spring. So we funded half from this budget, this capital, and half from next year. Not nothing against the schools. I know they need it, but I don't think they're ready for it. And it would give us time to catch up on some of these others and possibly put some money back in the CIP from landfill.
Well, they've already made decisions about leaving the Nottaway program based on this building.
Yeah, but I don't think the building is that far.
Isn't it supposed to open in fall of 2026 when you're?
In our communications with the architecture firm, we contracted them to design the building. They are still operating, they're trying to open it in the fall of 25.
25, oh, I have my year. Yes, that's the one I'm sorry, that's the one I meant. Which is the time schedule you gave Nottaway to be out, isn't it?
We have not formally entered into that. Made that recognition, we have until February of the year to make that.
Okay, I was wrong.
Other
Okay.
ones in part with also sale of the building, bringing revenue back to the county and things like that thereafter.
I said, just a suggestion.
Well, it
So
sounds
we're
like
just essentially, can't we protect that by zoning? Right now,
Some zoning and some monitoring that's gotta happen.
that does not seem like the most critical one.
but it still adds up.
We only have one water system. And I know a lot of it can be done with zoning as things come up, but I would like to have something in place that we know.
It just feels like a really big wrinkle to throw at the last minute to change the course of the CIP, which had been no new projects, and now you want to take projects out and propose some new ones. I just feels like a very big wrinkle.
It's not a new one. The animal shelter was in the old one. We froze everything. I was just,
Yeah, I was on your side on advertising. Now I'm off.
just a thought.
Don't have the funds to build the CTE building, period. You wish it all you want, we ain't got it.
We ain't got the fun. Don't you?
Exactly. Well, you might could squirt that one out.
All right, so what y'all want to do? Scratch all that? Did I just
I
say?
don't have an issue freezing the CTE building, and I don't know about the dog shelter or the protection right this second. Something you have to think about. But from what's going on from the past year, we don't have the funds to cover the CTE building.
But the shelter, we're trying to split that between 2 years. So we wouldn't be hit so hard.
We've already reduced.
That suggestion 2 meetings ago, and y'all told me that was impossible. There's obviously been some offline conversations that we've missed. Because I suggested splitting the dog shelter into 2 fiscal years, 2 meetings ago. Well, and I'm looking at you because I remember and you said that we couldn't do that because of the
I don't
timeline.
remember that.
If you get it just sunk into me, I don't know, but it's an idea.
Here.
Maybe that's what we heard the first time.
If the question was, are you geared up to go? The answer to that would have been yes. We've got plans, specs, ready to issue an RFP. But it definitely could be done, start next spring, put half the money out with this fiscal year's budget. Fund the other half in 26. It's how we built the Hammer Library. We put money in the bank
Yeah.
for 2 consecutive years.
Well, it's
Built it on the
how we do
third
a lot
year.
of projects. I mean, it's how we do a lot of projects. Well, the CTE is similar. I mean, were you gonna expend you're not gonna expend all the funds at one time anyway, are you?
If he says it opens in 2025,
Yeah.
It would, right now, the timeline would have had it extended over the course of the next fiscal year. If they could have planned, we have signed timeline. They are working.
Cautious.
That is the timeline they are currently working.
Well, let's just write up a check and let it bounce. If we don't have the money, we don't get the money. Let the check bounce. Go ahead. What are they gonna do? Tear it back down?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just,
Well, we won't have a total cost until the project is fully bid.
right.
Let's get, they're working, the architecture firm working with the training they provided. In terms of the-
I have a headache.
And plus the bill.
Yeah, but they'll give you an estimated cost though, right? Your engineering firm?
The original estimate was there. Once again, that was with Mosley that we was hoping was high at that point, and as you see, we might be high because of Mossley's history. We are still waiting for because the contract.
hey, let him.
They're still working on a plan. And so we have not gotten a full estimate from them yet, and we've had discussions about making sure we're as cost efficient as possible.
I don't disagree with holding, et cetera. If you freeze the whole project, my worry is they can't proceed with getting the bids, et cetera, so that they can move forward to get us the numbers that we need to go, et cetera. Same way.
I'm not saying take the project out. I'm just saying freeze it for next budget cycle. We still have a $1.4 million construction grant that can be used for the design work and RFPs and stuff. And then we'll know what the total price is gonna be when it comes back in.
We got $5 million we got paid for the radio system. And
Those are.
that's about it.
Just catching up to y'all's offline conversations. Just give me a minute. Yeah.
It's not offline.
Well, we haven't talked about CIP in many meetings now, so.
But I was kind of holding it to the end. I thought this was the end, so. What y'all want to do? Y'all want to do it again? Or y'all want to make a decision? What y'all want to do?
The bottom.
$74,000 in the red for this coming budget cycle. And if we fund everything in CIP, we're probably $2 million in the red. And those are bad places to be, folks. We can sugarcoat it. We can come in here and say, I like this, I like this. I don't have an airplane, we'll give you a discount on your airplane. When we have no money, we cut services. I won't pick it on the airplane, so please don't take that back. But when we give these discounts, we did raise some fees, but it costs money to do this.
Is there a way to see if it was the
And if-
calculation?
And if we figure out $3.5 million revenue, Todd thinks it's closer to 12.5. I would give him the benefit of the doubt, it's probably around the 13. So that puts us almost $600,000 in the red.
I think you need to go back then to the original plan on CIP and just hold CIP projects total, including the animal shelter, until you can see how things play out. If that's it. And that helps with your expected revenue number being off as well. Wait and see.
Okay.
In the,
I mean, I don't know. We're down only taking $6 or $7 at the land, at the animal control. So,
Well, yeah.
right now, permission to speak.
sure.
Yeah. Right now, this year upcoming, this year so far, we've gotten a little over 2 million, 2.2 million from the landfill. We spent 2.6. So we've had a $400,000 deduction in our CIP fund balance. That the draft FY23 audit showed that we had about 14.7 in there. So that went down about, 700,000. Transferring the proffers and all, it comes back up. So you got a little under 15 in your CIP fund. Freezing everything except the radio project will leave you, I'd say finish out this year's projects, because you got a lot of projects that are ongoing that have been half invoiced or quarter invoiced.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah, right.
That had been our discussion before,
Yep.
was freezing new
projects. So, yeah.
freezing new.
Yep. So if you
Yeah.
froze new projects plus if the CT bill is included in that, then that would definitely free up a large cushion for your potential shortfall in your general fund to have those reserves. And I will tell you, your general fund, in my opinion, and I'm not a finance guy, but I've been studying this for 5 weeks at home at night. I've spent a lot of time looking at it, and I put my heart into it. Your general fund has got a problem, and I think you're probably a year away from having zero general fund the way things are going.
Mhm.
So if you're a year away from having zero general fund, you're going to need your capital fund to float that any additional deficits you face. The good news is if you do freeze anything, next year you're going to get another 2.5 million from the landfill. So if you everything that when you freeze it on top of whatever you have left after your radio project and any ongoing projects, you'd have an additional 2.5 million of capital funds there. And then you can see what happens to your general fund. But just to summarize, your general fund is in desperation, and I think the gates need to be shut as soon as possible and without caution, without even thinking. I think you have to shut the gates down, and I would even recommend this year, not just CIP spending, but even departmental spending, so that your general fund can be preserved, whatever's going to be left of it. Tomorrow, I have Mr. Montoro, who provides financial consultant services to the county, that's going to give me a projected carryover for the end of FY24. So I'll have that tomorrow. So if you guys want to have another meeting, we can look at that number and see the projected carryover. And then, of course, anything you do to the CIP will save you that money, because the county has to have about $2 million a month to operate on, to conduct business on. And we only get revenue, really a large chunk of revenue once a year. So we use a lot of those funds to operate, and then we're reimbursed every year with the large chunk of revenue that we get.
But if you do those things, which we'd already, it's just essentially you're saying for CIP, what we'd already agreed on to previously. And then if you get the better numbers or any numbers on the carryover, et cetera, we can still make adjustments after it's been advertised on from those issues. Even if we need to go back again and increase the tax rates, we can still do it. We just have to advertise again. I mean, I just don't feel like we need to keep having meetings over and over without having had at least a public hearing. We're making tons of changes and then not getting to a public hearing portion. Like, let's get out and have a hearing.
Has the final order come back?
No, sir, and I asked Mr. Lupton about that today. He says it's with their quality control team and that it should be back in the next day or two. And I can forward you that email if you'd like to have it on file.
What y'all want to do? Send it out for advertising and we start public hearings?
I don't think you got a consensus.
Okay.
I read.
I didn't think so. That's why I kept asking.
I move-
Y'all want to have no meeting?
It gives him a chance to talk to Mr. Montero. He's got a couple more things he can look at. We've come up with tonight.
Who y'all want to meet?
Next, do you want another meeting?
Don't make a difference to me.
What do you really want?
Y'all want to do Thursday? I just won't go up the country. Just like save my gas money.
It's your preference. You want Thursday? I'm gonna set it to according to your schedule.
If y'all want it Thursday, I can be there.
What do you
Thursday.
want?
I don't want another meeting, but we're gonna have to have one.
Well, you got three that's feeling.
I was gonna say, 3 of us ready to advertise without another meeting. If you're good with that.
Yeah, but what we're gonna do, advertise this right here?
Let's meet Thursday.
Look at-
Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Or look at reason and doing everything that David's saying.
I don't know. Y'all, all you need is 3.
For the CIP, what would we advertise if we didn't have another meeting? Would we advertise no new CIP projects? So zero, no animal shelter, no wellhead? Okay.
Which is what.
But that's the consensus.
Which is what we had previously agreed on that.
But are you gonna advertise the revenue coming in? Do you advertise the $2.5 million worth of landfill tipping fees coming in,
Coming into where?
You're gonna
the
get it.
budget?
Yeah, they're gonna come in. I mean, yeah.
But that's supposed to be saved.
But it's not here.
Well, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, you
It's
can-
revealed as
The CIP.
the CIP. That's why we're at now.
Still needs to be in your budget.
Right.
But it's not gonna change that bottom number.
It's gonna make a different
What are
number,
you ready?
Wow.
In the workshop.
like it did last year, because you add your CIP to your budget.
You said.
That's why I wanted to,
It'll be different funds, but
that's why I wanted to
But it's not.
Freeze.
That's why we're in the trouble we're in right now.
all right, we got a lot of discussion. Let's meet Thursday. It's 6 o'clock here to go over the new information from Montero, possible new information for CIP, and maybe somebody will find $394,000 for now. That was a motion. Can I get any more discussion? Are we good to meet Thursday at 6 p.m. here? All in favor? Those of you voting, or you not voting?
I'm voting against it, but it's going to be listed.
All right. Is that going, that's going to continue meeting?
Yep. You said 6.
Yeah.
Your motion's at 6.